What is going on, guys? Frankie here, Frankie's Film, coming at you with another installment in our Frankie's Film review, film breakdown series right here on the LTB network. Let's Talk Broncos. This week, we're taking a look back at the Broncos' heart-crushing 17-22 defeat to the Houston Texans, but more specifically on the lighter side of things, we're going to be looking at Vance Joseph in the defense and how, despite some big plays given up, they did a really good job of limiting the Texans' passing game, especially on third down. Vance did a lot of really awesome stuff with simulated pressure looks, some unique personnel packages, and some unique looks he was throwing at the offensive line. And then just some mush rushing, just some good old manipulating where CJ Stroud was in the pocket, kind of forcing him to step up and make a couple of throws or just step into pressure. And it resulted well for the Broncos defense, who ended up holding the Texans offense to 4 for 12 on third down. So without further ado, let's dive into the film. First play of the game, and we're looking at the opening drive for Houston. They're facing a 3rd and 5, and we get to see Vance's first sim pressure of the game. Just want to take a second to describe something that's going to be popping up a few times in this video. So a simulated pressure is when a defensive coordinator sends a non-traditional blitzer on a blitz, so like a nickel corner, a safety, an inside linebacker, whatever, and then he drops a traditional blitzer or a defensive lineman back into coverage. So it's a way for defensive coordinators to give blitz and pressure looks and kind of get those advantageous pass rush situations and confuse offensive lines and pass protections plans without kind of leaving their back end completely wide open to big plays. Here we see Vance blitzing Josey Jewell while dropping Jonathan Cooper on a receiver, with the rest of the secondary playing man coverage behind him. Stroud has nowhere to go as the corners are all playing blanket coverage, and after evading a charging Zach Allen up the middle, he's forced to scramble for just a couple of yards, coming up just short of the first down marker. Next, we have a Texans 3rd and 2 with the Broncos running some cover 1 with Josey Jewell as the whole defender. And this is one of the few times Denver allowed Stroud to kind of break their contain. He was able to get outside of the pocket here. But luckily, the pursuit we see out of Jonathan Cooper and Matt Henningsen, combined with the persistent coverage from Jaquan McMillan, maybe a little bit of a not-so-great ball from CJ Stroud, sees this one fall incomplete. Next, we've got a 3rd and 6 for Houston as they lead Denver 10-0, and Denver's going to be running just some too high man on the back end. Up front, we're going to see Vance running a little bit of a twist with Jonathan Cooper and Zach Allen. We've got Zach Allen being the penetrator as he's working upfield through the guard, and then that forces CJ Stroud to step forward. Luckily, he steps right forward into the looping Jonathan Cooper and the mush rushing DJ Jones and the spinning Baron Browning, so it ends up working well. Denver gets another stop short of the sticks. Next up, we got a 3rd and 5 for Houston. The Texans are up 13-3, and we've got another Vance Joseph sim pressure. Josey Jewell is going to be the blitzer with Baron Brown dropping into a hook zone, and the Broncos are going to be running some cover 6 or some quarter high coverage, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, we're going to see the sim pressure work to perfection, though. The offensive line is unable to diagnose it. We just see Nick Bonito get a free run at the quarterback. CJ Stroud does his best to try to create some magic, but is unable to and ends up having to throw the ball away, and the Broncos force another punt. Into the second half now, Houston facing a 3rd and 13, still up 13-3. We've got the Broncos showing their double mugged linebacker look, and the Texans have a great counter here dialed up with the wide receiver screen to the slot, but we just see Jaquan McMillan continue to be a star in that slot nickel position. He gets just a big enough piece of Nico Collins here, gets through the blocker and makes it so Nico Collins can't build a head of steam, and the rest of the defense is able to rally and make a stop. Next up, we've got a 2nd and 10, and I promise there will be reason for me showing a second down in just a moment. The Texans are up 16-10. The Broncos are showing their double mug look again. They're playing more cover-to-cover high coverage, and we see the same end tackle stunt with Allen, only this time it's Browning who will be the looper. Once again, Allen is the penetrator up into the backfield. Just like before, CJ Stroud steps up from the pressure, and he finds himself right into the waiting arms of the Denver Broncos. We've got DJ Jones once again doing a great job mush rushing, jumping, trying to get his arms in the passing lanes, and then cleaning up the plays when it's necessary, and just a great job overall by the Broncos defense of knowing where the quarterback is at all times. Very next play, we've got a 3rd and 13, and Vance Joseph has officially found his bag. He has moved inside of it. He is now living within his own bag. He's in his bag. He has 8 players mugging the line of scrimmage. You can count them. There's 8. 4 of them drop. The 4 nearest to the center, they all drop into various hook zones, flat zones, whatever. Denver's playing some cover 3. And then we've got Locke and McMillian blitzing off the edge with Zach Allen and Jonathan Cooper also being edge rushers in this formation. The 2 nickels and safeties, they do a great job of creeping very late in the play to not give away that they are the blitzers. We see a textbook punch out from McMillan on CJ Stroud, and painfully Jonathan Cooper is unable to fall on it, so the Texans do have to punt. But just look at the confusion that Vance Joseph is creating along this Texans offensive front. Later in the game, Texans facing a 3rd and 17, leading 22-17, and the Broncos are running more cover 1. This time they've got PJ Locke playing as the robber in the middle of the field. And we've just got a classic Patrick Surtain, best cornerback in the NFL, shutdown rep. Houston's just running some deep curl routes, trying to get the first down however they can. Nico Collins honestly does a good job climbing vertical, but Patrick Surtain's just too good, doesn't get fooled by anything like that. Easy pass breakup. Final play we'll be looking at today for the Denver Broncos defense. We've got a 2nd and 14 for Houston, and the Broncos are once again coming out in their double mug linebacker look. The Broncos are running more cover 1 with Jonathan Cooper dropping as the whole defender, and then we've got PJ Locke blitzing from the opposite side. And this time we see the offensive tackle kind of bite on the stunt that they're running. We see kind of the vertical penetrator kind of catches the offensive tackle off guard. He pays no mind to PJ Locke, and PJ Locke is able to get a free run directly at CJ Stroud. And get probably the easiest sack of his football career, but I will say either CJ Stroud needs to see the blitz coming and have a hot read figured out, or Bobby Slovic needs to kind of call a timeout there and just recognize that that play call was dead from the jump. It really does feel like Vance Joseph has pulled off some kind of insane multi-season anime supervillain turned good guy redemption arc in the span of only 3 months. It's really crazy to think about where, the viewpoint was, the overlook was on him as a coach in week 3, 4, and 5 after the Dolphins loss versus where we are now and what our thoughts are on this entire defense. I honestly am very hopeful that he stays in Denver for another year and gets to continue building in his image. But all that stuff aside, once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been Frankie, Frankie's Film, over here on the Let's Talk Broncos Network. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, watching everything we've got over here. We've got podcast videos for you Buffaloes fans, for you Broncos fans, whatever you need. So once again, this has been Frankie's Film. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until the Broncos beat the Chargers next week, I'll catch you guys.